I'm going to be the last
What
one
is
to
up,
cross the
guys?
line,
It is
just
Simba
let me
here,
know if
and
there's
welcome
anyone
back
on a
to
lap or anything.
another League Racing video on F124. And today we're back in World for the Bahrain Grand Prix. If you haven't seen the last race I did in World, which was around Singapore, I highly recommend you go check that one out before you see this one. It was quite a chaotic race, but the big spoiler here is that we managed to score points, not in the sprint, but in the main race as well. We scored 14 points in the whole weekend, which is massive. And if you're looking forward to this one, make sure you hit the like button and get subscribed for more League Racing content on the channel on F124. We're nearly at 400 subscribers, and I would really appreciate if we hit the milestone. But here we are in Q1. It's not just the one qualifying session here. It's Q1, Q2, and Q3 normally, as the sprint was a bit of an exception to that. And here we are in Bahrain. And now for practice, I was doing like 2.5 hours, mainly of Q1 practice, because I didn't expect myself to get into Q2, but the pace went really good in Q1. So I'm hoping that it somewhat translates into this session. But so far, the first sector isn't great. It is a 28.2, which isn't the greatest first sector in the world. But as you can see, through turn 8, we missed the apex, which isn't ideal. And obviously with Q1, there's not much grip. And bear in mind, the delta is way up because we did our first lap on intermediate tyres as basically an installation lap to get the just to give ourselves a delta, essentially, as I stumble through the words. Now, through turn 11, down to 5th, we missed the apex again. Now, this is slowly becoming a bit of a bad habit throughout this lap, but we've still got one sector to try and close us out. It's a 5.4 in the middle sector. Again, we just veer off a little bit wide from the apex, and that's gonna hurt, as you know, it's not really been a great lap here, and we're gonna try and close out. And again, we're 5 miles from the apex, and this is going to be very poor to start off with. A 27-0.
So shit.
And we're 14th. And that is pretty poor. You heard me not too happy in the background. Rightfully so. That was a rubbish lap. And now we've got all the pressure to improve if we want to get into Q2. So, here we go then. This is before they fixed the ERS, by the way, so we can use it wherever you want around the track. Moving over to the pit lane, called utter woke nonsense, as there's bumps on the main racing line as we head down to turn 1, down to 3rd gear. Nicely done near the apex, and staying in 3rd through turn 2 and through turn 3, we've gained a 10th already. So this is a very good start to the lap, and we just need to close up the first sector through turn 4, where you brake on the curb, down to 4th, close to the apex again, and you can see we've gained a 10th and a half, and a 28.0 is pretty good. But through 6 and 7, what on earth has happened there? We had a bit of a moment halfway through 6, and it really hurt us through 7. And we've lost 2 tenths from that alone. But we can still try and salvage this through turns 9 and 10. We missed the apex through 10, and we're on the other side of the racetrack for the exit. Oh dear, this... You know what, GG's. It's GG's. This is basically absolutely cooked. We missed the apex by a mile again through turn 11. We're at 10th and a half down, and we're P15. So this is not looking good under any stretch of the imagination. We gain at least a good half a tenth by actually hitting the apex at turn 13, which is remarkable. It's incredible what you can do if you hit an apex. Through the last corner, again, we actually decide to hit the apex. We're going to be marginally up, but we don't have enough battery, and we're going to cross the line. We're down in 16th, and we don't even get into the 26s. Disastrous. Easily my worst qualifying performance on this game, by a mile. My PB in Q1 was a 26.6, and you can see that that would have easily put us through to the next part of qualifying, but it's P17. I was remarkably annoyed, and rightfully so. It was a really poor lap there. FRT Dan, my teammate, didn't fare much better. He was struggling for pace, and he's 19th. So we've got some work to do in the race, and that is all I can say. Piss poor. Absolutely piss poor. And it's going to be quite a job to do in the race now. So, points are scored in the race, thankfully, not in qualifying. We're going to be starting on the hards, as hard-soft is the preferred strategy around here, as the mediums are a rubbish race tyre. But we've given ourselves quite a job to do here in Bahrain. What can we do from 17th on the grid as the 5 red lights are up? And the lights are out, and we are on the way for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Cameron Dowd has got the start horrendously wrong. He's jumped to the start at least 3 business days before everyone else has got off the line. So, into turn 1 we go, looking for the outside line. And we'll turn to the inside for turn 2 as Beate Justin gives us quite a bit of a squeeze through 2. We both don't fly off the racetrack, which is good. And we're going to go side by side with the Kick Sauber in BRT, obviously, as there's a bit of carnage in front of us. There's a car up in the wall on the exit at turn 4, and it's Quantum again. If you saw in Singapore, he couldn't catch a break. He kept on disconnecting, and this time, he's probably put in way more practice than me, and he's only managed to go as far as 4 corners, and that is absolutely peak for anyone. So Quantum's out, safety car is out, but as you can tell,
someone's pointed out on my chat. Yeah, somehow, despite me qualifying 17, so fair play. Sound. There we go, we've let him through now.
We gained a place on Damien under the safety car as soon as it was deployed, and now we've let him back through. Someone pointed out in my stream, and I was surprised that someone was watching after I managed to put in a performance of P17 in qualifying. But we're in the points. Remember, the top 15 score in the race now. It's not just the top 10 as it was when I first started racing in World on F1 22. So we do have a chance to move forward. The race pace was feeling good in practice, and we're going to see if it translates into the race, as the safety car is coming in at the end of lap 3. Cameron Dowd is going to be the big loser in the safety car restart because he's going to serve a drive-through penalty for horrendously jumping the start. So we're underway here in Bahrain. We're right behind Damien Surreal, and if you remember Singapore, we had a bit of a coming together with him, which essentially ruined his race. So bit of a moment through turn 2 as the tyres are really cold. We've got FRT Dan just behind us in 15th as well. We all jump up a place after Dowd served his drive-through penalty. So now we can go racing, and we're going to see what the pace is like compared to those around us. Obviously no DRS on this lap. It will be enabled at the end of lap 4 onto lap 5, as it's only 2 laps for DRS to be enabled these days, as nothing much is happening. We skipped to lap 10. We're just sat in DRS, and here comes the Aston Martin of Owen in the Aston Martin. I'm not sure what team he's in, but he's looking pretty quick at this point, and we just let him go at this point. Into turn 1 we go. We just let the Aston Martin through. He did seem pretty quick, and we're going to see if we can follow him through the field. I'm not too sure what's happened to him to end up down the order. I think he might have been involved in some of the carnage on lap 1. But now it's up to him to basically tag us along. But Beate Justin, as you saw in China in AEC, he was not afraid to get stuck in with some moves, and that's the same thing happening here, as he might have damage as we go through turn 3.
Yep, you just knew that was going to happen.
Justin has been spun out there through turn 3, and he's lost out massively, and now Choco was in AI through turn 4, and we do manage to get ahead of him by the time we get into turn 6 and 7, which is a crucial move because we can't afford to lose too much time. But I wasn't surprised about Justin's spin, simply because he was fighting a lot, and we lost the DRS to the top 10 cars in front of us.
Oh, that is good to see. Nice one, Dan. Good to see you follow through.
So it's important that we all work together to try and mitigate the gap between the top 10. There is a bit of fighting going up ahead, but everyone seems to calm down. And you heard me say that it was good to see Dan following through past Choco as well. So it's 2 extra positions for the FRT boys as we go through through lap 12 onto lap 13. We're going to be burning the battery to pass Damien, and we finally get past him. You can hear my relief in the background because I did feel slightly quicker than the RB, but now we're up into P12. Owen is P11, and we just need to follow him through on the pace. And his pace was really strong, and unfortunately my wings were a bit too high, so I couldn't afford to burn the battery down the main straight if I wanted to. And that also means that our recharge is a little bit slower. And considering it's really easy to charge the battery up on this game, that is not ideal. So we are up against it on the battery. We're just about hanging on to DRS. And you can hear Barofix, my engineer, talking, well, you can hear me talking to Barofux, talking about strategy, and this was going on for quite a while, this conversation, and we go wide.
Oh, for fuck's sake, I've just flown off the track, man.
2 and now 3 warnings,
Fuck!
and that is a
as-
3-second penalty. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And now this is really, really frustrating because A, we've just lost DRS to Owen, and B, we've lost it at a very bad time because he's just caught up to the top 10 train in front of us, and we're going to drop out and bleed time on the DRS straight. So we have to let Damien back through, and that's essentially ruined both of our races because, you know, if we were still in the train, we would have fancied our chances, but getting a penalty around Bahrain is far from ideal.
I know, it's just the timing could not have been worse.
And you can hear me say there, the timing could not have been worse. I wasn't happy after qualifying, and I'm not happy right now. I am not enjoying my driving here in this Bahrain Grand Prix, but we're going to have to go in early into the pits to mitigate for the fact that we've lost so much time. Dan's going to carry on for one more lap, and we're going to go onto the soft tyres. And this is going to be quite a stint towards the end of the race. We can't use the mediums because they're just as bad, if not worse, than the softs. So it wouldn't be the wise decision to go on them. And that's about it. This is all we can do. This is the best bet we've got. We were talking to Bell about pitting on lap 18 anyway, but it's now even more necessary as we've lost the DRS train. As you can see, we're not even hitting the apex in the race either, so through turn 1. So that's not ideal. But we're going to keep pushing. There's still time left in this race to make something happen. And you can see there are some cars coming out of the pits in front of us, including Tech Brutal and Owen, as Damien has a little look through turn 1. We just about fend him off. We just squeeze him out there. And we do stay ahead. Well, we're still P14, but the 3-second penalty is really going to hurt us. Now, Bell was talking about a car in the Mercedes. I think it was CPI Jordan, who hasn't pitted yet, and that was basically the last hope we had of getting back into the DRS. You can see that Owen just in front of us has passed Cameron Dowds running outside at turn 8, and Dowds is on the hard tyres, and I don't think he's stopped yet, but unfortunately we're going to catch up to him at a very unconventional part of the racetrack, and by the time we catch up with him, once again, Owen is gone. He's absolutely flown away as Damien sets the fastest lap onto lap 21 as he makes a double overtake down the main straight. We're going to try and follow him through. Round the outside, it's almost looking like we're in a 3-wide situation with Dowds and Allison who've just come out of the pits. But we do manage to seal the move through turn 2, and now we are up into P13 in this race. And Allison makes a light work of Dowds as well through turn 4. So it's not too bad, but you can see that losing the train a few laps ago is really hurting us. And now Allison's coming through.
Just gonna let Allison go, just see if I can follow him.
Now, this is probably our best bet of trying to catch up to the top 10 again. We're going to use Allison to try and tow us along, just like we did with Owen in the first stint. Allison is really quick around here, was really quick around here on F123, and it's no surprise to see him here on F124 as well. So now we're going to try and make the move on Damien into turn 1, try and follow Allison through, and we do manage to seal the move and the position through turns 1 and 2, and we're up into P13 once again. But Damien's not going to go quietly, and this is exactly what I'm looking to avoid. You can see we don't have much battery, and there's a bit of contact on the way through turn 4. We have the outside line, but Damien muscles his way through, and he's back into P13, so a lot of battery wasted there. It's not ideal, and we're really struggling to recharge battery. The pace did seem okay, but it's not as strong as those around us.
I've hit 63%.
And it's definitely played a part in where we are on the track. And meanwhile, on to lap 26 now. We've skipped a few laps, and unfortunately, we've got some tyre trouble already, as we've hit 63%, and there's still 3 laps to go, so there might be a chance of us getting a puncture near the end of the race, as now we've caught up to CPI Jordan, who's gone a long way on those hard tyres. Once again, Allison just took off, along with Owen before him, and now we're going to make the move on Jordan, using the overtake, using the slipstream of Damien as well, and Jordan's not going to fight this too hard at all. Through turn 4, we nearly on the brakes, and we are back into P11. There were 2 cars that pitted for some random reason. I think they were AI cars who just pitted for other people, which isn't ideal.
Thanks, Dan. What a guy.
But meanwhile, with our teammate, he's fending off some cars who have a 3-second penalty, and he's got one as well. So he's trying to make sure that he protects the 3-second gap that we've got, so we can try and finish ahead of at least 1 or 2, maybe 3 cars at the end. You can see Justin swapping places there on the leaderboard. But this is the last lap, and P10 is on the cards. The penalty might get removed, but I do want to try and make this happen on track as we go down the inside into turn 1. And we managed to get it done. No locking wheels through turn 1 this time. We are up into the top 10 on the final lap of the race. So there's an incident behind us which could definitely help us try and seal P10 as Damien comes back at us. We're going to try and match him on the brakes down the inside into turn 4. We do clip the inside curb, and Damien again just gets better drive out of the corner, and he's up into P10 again. You can see he's flashing, which means he's probably just trying to save as much battery as he can through this technical part of the racetrack into sector 2. And now where can we try and make something happen? We're closing in through turn 9, and we're going to go down the inside into turn 10, and we get the place back, but Damien saw it coming, and now we're going to go side by side on the exit. We've got DRS, we're using the overtake, and we're going to try and seal this, but Damien comes up with the inside at turn 11. I saw it coming, and we've managed to get a decent exit, and we're side by side again, going up the hill through turns 11 and 12, but he just gets ahead, and we can't do anything about it. He parks his car right in front of us, and we don't have any battery, for goodness sake. So again, some poor battery management has held us back here. Damien is going to win out the battle for P10, and he's going to get some payback for Singapore. We are 82% by the time we cross the line, and it's a very frustrating race, which ends in P12, and yeah, it was a rough one, and I don't think it was a good performance anyway, even if we finished P12. I can tell you that the penalty did get removed in the end. It was an unfair double warning, so we do get P10 at the end of the race, but yeah, not my best driving, not in qualifying, not in the race. You know, qualifying pace, we should have done a lot better, at least getting to Q2, but we didn't do that. And the race pace felt okay. Of course, we're not going to be as on the pace as some of the front runners, but it was obvious that we were not on the same level of pace as them. And the silly mistake at turns 9 and 10 just was very unnecessary. So, yeah. Of course, we went from 17th to 10th, but there's not too many positives to take from this one. It was quite a poor race, in my opinion. I think we've been driving really well in the last couple of videos, and this one is a bit of an exception. A bit of a tougher race here, and that is essentially how the game goes. But decent points, another top 10 finish, I won't complain. Not my best race. I'll be hoping to do a little bit better the next time I get the chance to race in World. But subscribe for more, and as always, I'll see all of you in the next one.